What if your entire life was spent inside a moving train, sorting letters you've never read for people you'll never meet? Tonight, we'll travel back to 1903 and follow one of America's forgotten railway mail clerks through a long, peaceful night on the rails. The man who sorted mail on a quiet American train, 1903. Good evening. Tonight, we are not going to visit a battlefield. We are not going to witness a famous invention. We are not going to meet a president. Instead, we will spend time with a man whose job was so ordinary that most people never thought about it at all. His name was Samuel Turner. And in the year 1903, Samuel worked inside a moving train. Not as the engineer, not as the conductor, not as a passenger. Samuel sorted mail, hour after hour, day after day, year after year, across thousands of miles of American railroad tracks. Most people who received letters never wondered how those letters traveled. The letter might appear in a mailbox in Ohio. A few days later, it might arrive in Kansas, but then another might travel to Missouri, or Nebraska, or Colorado. The journey seemed almost magical, but behind every letter stood people like Samuel Turner. Quiet workers, patient workers, workers who spent their lives helping messages travel across America. On this particular autumn evening, Samuel sat inside a railway post office car. The train moved steadily through the countryside. Outside, the sun was beginning to set. Golden light stretched across endless fields. Farmhouses appeared in the distance. Small towns came and went. Wooden fences passed by like slow-moving lines. Inside the mail car, everything felt calm. Wooden sorting shelves covered the walls. Canvas mailbags rested in neat rows. Small labels identified destinations: Chicago, St. Louis, Denver, Omaha, Kansas City. Samuel knew every shelf by memory. He rarely needed to look at the labels anymore. After nearly 15 years, his hands seemed to know exactly where each letter belonged. The train gently rocked from side to side, not enough to disturb him. In fact, Samuel found the movement comforting. Many people slept better in moving trains. Samuel worked better in them. The steady rhythm of wheels rolling over rails created a kind of music. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. The sound never truly stopped. And after years of listening, Samuel hardly noticed it anymore. Yet if the sound suddenly disappeared, he would notice immediately. Because a silence on a railroad often felt strange. He picked up another bundle of letters. One by one, he sorted them. A letter from Illinois, a letter from Iowa, a postcard from Michigan, a business envelope addressed to a merchant in Denver. Each piece of mail represented a small story, someone writing to family, someone writing to a friend, someone placing an order, someone sharing news. Most stories Samuel would never know. And that was perfectly fine. His job was not to read the stories. His job was simply to help them continue their journey. Outside, darkness slowly spread across the American countryside. The train continued westward, steady, reliable, patient, much like Samuel himself. And as another peaceful evening settled across America, thousands of letters quietly traveled through the night. The train continued westward through the night. Outside the windows, darkness covered the American countryside. Fields disappeared into shadow. Roads became invisible. Farmhouses appeared only as tiny points of light in the distance. Most people were asleep now. Children slept beneath warm blankets. Farmers rested after long days of work. Shopkeepers dreamed quietly in rooms above their stores. Entire towns seemed wrapped in silence. But inside the railway mail car, Samuel Turner remained awake. The lantern hanging from the ceiling swayed gently with the motion of the train. Its warm light illuminated shelves filled with letters. Thousands of stories, thousands of journeys. Samuel reached for another bundle. The movement felt automatic now. After 15 years, his hands knew the work better than his mind. Pick up a letter. Read the destination. Place it in the correct slot. Repeat. Again, and again, and again. The rhythm matched the sound of the train.
Click-clack, sort. Click-clack, sort. Click-clack, sort. The combination felt strangely peaceful, like a kind of music. Not exciting music, not dramatic music, just the quiet music of work being done well. A gust of wind rattled the side of the train. For a moment, Samuel looked up. The sound quickly disappeared. The countryside returned to silence. He smiled slightly. The railroad had many sounds. Some were familiar, some were unusual. But after years aboard trains, very few sounds surprised him anymore. The mail car itself felt almost like a second home. He knew every shelf, every hook, every storage compartment, every floorboard that creaked, every window that rattled during strong winds. Many people spent their entire lives in one house. Samuel had spent much of his life inside moving railroad cars, and strangely enough, he preferred it that way. The motion felt comforting. The constant movement reminded him that the world never truly stood still, even during quiet moments, even during sleep, even during silence. Everything continued moving forward. The train moved forward. The country moved forward. Time moved forward. And letters moved forward. Always forward, never backward. Samuel reached into another mailbag. This one had arrived earlier that evening from Chicago. The canvas felt rough beneath his fingers. Inside were hundreds of envelopes, business correspondence, family letters. Outside, clouds drifted slowly across the night sky. For a few moments, the moon disappeared. Darkness deepened. The train seemed alone in the world. Only the lantern inside the mail car provided light. Only the wheels provided sound. Only Samuel remained awake among countless sleeping communities scattered across the countryside. He wondered briefly how many people were sleeping at that exact moment. Thousands? Millions? The thought felt impossible to imagine. Entire cities resting, entire farms resting, entire neighborhoods resting. While one train quietly carried mail through the darkness. Eventually the moon emerged again. Silver light spread across the landscape. Fields became visible once more. Trees appeared as dark silhouettes against the horizon. A river flashed briefly beside the tracks, then disappeared. The scenery changed constantly, yet somehow always remained peaceful. Samuel looked through the window. Watching the countryside at night had become one of his favorite parts of the job. During daylight, people noticed details: barns, roads, houses, animals. At night, those details disappeared. Only shapes remained, only outlines, only suggestions. The world became simpler, and simplicity often felt restful. The train approached a small station. The brakes engaged gently. Speed decreased. The rhythmic sound of wheels changed. The station appeared ahead. A few gas lamps illuminated the platform. Their glow seemed tiny against the darkness. One railroad worker waited beside several mailbags. He stood quietly, hands in pockets, hat pulled low against the cool night air. The exchange took only a few minutes. Mailbags were loaded, others were unloaded. No speeches, no excitement, no celebration. Just another ordinary stop during another ordinary night. Soon the train began moving again. The station disappeared behind them. Its lights faded into darkness. Samuel returned to his sorting. The hours continued passing, slowly, steadily, peacefully. Midnight arrived, then passed. The countryside remained quiet. The train remained steady. The lantern remained bright. And Samuel continued doing what he had done for years, sorting letters, helping stories travel, connecting distant people who might never meet. In many ways, he believed that was the true purpose of the mail, not transportation, not business, not efficiency, connection. A letter connected one person to another, one family to another, one town to another, across great distances, across difficult weather, across time itself. That idea made him feel strangely content. He picked up another envelope, then another, then another. Outside, the stars continued shining above the sleeping American countryside, and somewhere far ahead, new towns waited, new stations waited, new mailbags waited. While the long train rolled patiently through the darkness carrying countless messages toward tomorrow,